Welcome and settle in. Imagine yourself drifting past the quiet sheen of distant planets, gliding toward a small, pale world wrapped in ice. You are weightless, unhurried, and the darkness feels like a soft blanket. Beneath that frozen shell, an ocean waits, not with crashing waves or storms, but with a hushed, patient tide that has flowed for millions of years. How sleepy are you on a scale of 1 to 10? If you enjoy calm science, please like and subscribe. And feel free to use the playlist link in the description to keep learning while you gently drift off. You hover above the moon's surface, where sunlight arrives as a cool glow rather than a blaze. The ice is not smooth, but patterned and quilted, with ridges that look like long frozen fingerprints and dark lines that trace slow-motion fractures. Now imagine easing downward as if your mind could pass through the ice like a warm breath through glass. Inside, the world is dim blue and every sound is softened. The ice holds whispers, a faint creak as it flexes, a soft pop as a pocket of brine shifts. Gravity pulls, a giant planet nearby tugs back, and the shell responds with the regularity of a lullaby. The gentle rhythm continues. Within the ice, little channels of salty water thread through the frozen maze, carrying hints of minerals and tiny gas bubbles. Some are narrow enough to catch a grain of dust. Others widen into calm, hidden ponds, like crystal rooms where time slows. The walls here are lacework, columns of frost, thin films of water, delicate bridges. You can almost feel the texture beneath your fingertips, slick in places, dry and powder soft in others, with a faint scent of clean cold, like opening a freezer on a winter morning. The pace is unhurried, the drift constant, and the quiet is reassuring. Deeper still, warmth begins to shimmer in the distance, not as heat you can touch, but as the knowledge that the moon's body tides knead its interior into a slow, steady fever. The crust flexes ever so slightly with each orbit around its planet. Friction builds, then melts a little ice, then rests again. Over vast stretches of time, this gentle kneading keeps water liquid and life's possibility breathing softly in the dark. The gentle rhythm continues. At last you slip into open water, and the feeling is like floating in a deep velvet night. There is no sunbeam here, but the ocean breathes in silence. The water cradles you, cool and steady, with a faint taste of salt and carbonates and something metallic, as if stones have dissolved into a calm tea. The pressure hugs everything, firm but stable, as though the ocean is protective of its secrets. Currents move in slow sheets. They rise, fall, and curl, carrying whispers of heat from the seafloor and threads of oxidants from the ice above. In this ocean, light is not the main source of energy. Chemistry becomes the quiet fire. Far below, you find the rocky floor, not jagged, but gentle and dark. And there you sense warm spots like tiny hearths. Hydrothermal vents grow where heated water meets cold ocean, building chimneys out of minerals, porous, layered, lightly steaming. The water that leaves these chimneys carries hydrogen, methane, and traces of silica, born from rock and water, speaking softly to each other. You see the chimneys not as pillars of power, but as serene gatherings, where the temperature is only a little kinder, where minerals rain out in fine dust, and where life, if it exists, may tuck itself into the pores like seeds in soil. Imagine little microbes adhered to the mineral grains, weaving thin filaments that wave with the mild currents. They might draw energy from the slow reaction of hydrogen and carbon dioxide, stitching the building blocks of life in a chemistry as steady as a heartbeat at rest. Some may harvest the faint oxygen and peroxide that form on the ice above, born of distant radiation, and drift downward over centuries, joining the deep with the shallows in a patient cycle. On Earth, such beings gather around vents and under ice shelves, building mats that resemble a plush moss. Here, in this extraterrestrial ocean, they could be soft colonies that look like delicate lace pressed against stone, each cell quietly taking its turn, the gentle rhythm continuing. You move with the current, and tiny particles pass by. They are flakes of mineral, fragments of organic matter, perhaps shells of ice trapping gases in delicate cages. Each flake turns slowly, like a snowflake learning to swim. The water is not empty. It is a gallery of minute sculptures shaped by chemistry and time. You can sense faint gradients, the barest hint of warmth on one side, a slightly different flavor on the other, as salts and gases vary along your path. It all blends into a calm, layered soup that has evolved not to rush, but to last. Above, the ice and the ocean exchange secrets. Cracks open and seal with the gentleness of breathing. A hint of surface oxidant sinks, while bubbles from below rise, and somewhere far away, a plume may briefly burst into space, sending the ocean story into the quiet vacuum. Tiny grains of silica ride those plumes, clues that warm water has met rock and returned with a whisper of heat. Some spacecraft have flown through such feathers of spray and tasted the moon's breath, finding salt and organics that smell in the language of instruments like possibilities. The instruments are careful and steady, like librarians recording notes in the margins of a very old book. Back at the seafloor, a ridge slopes upward in a long, gentle arc. The rocks here are altered by water, their edges softened by time. The chemistry hints that the ocean might be mild to alkaline, perhaps tempered by traces of ammonia, which keeps water liquid at lower temperatures, like a quiet antifreeze woven into the recipe. In little pockets, gases collect in clathrate cages, icy lattices that hold them in place until the gentle push of heat releases them again without hurry. The gentle rhythm continues. If life settles here, it chooses patience. Microbes rely on gradients rather than light, dining on the difference between one molecule and another. The colonies do not need to race. They grow in soft films, then release a few cells to drift on a current, then rest again, like a calm tide breathing. If there are more complex creatures, they move slowly to save energy, perhaps guided by the faint warmth around vents, perhaps listening for the whisper of chemistry, the way a flower listens for light. Nothing needs to startle you here. Everything prefers a measured pace. Earth offers helpful hints. Beneath Antarctic ice, lakes lie sealed for ages, and when drilled with care, the water reveals small communities that have endured in dimness and cold. Under sea ice, networks of brine channels provide shelter, and bacteria gather in their corners like quiet neighbors. Along deep-sea vents, entire ecosystems live from chemistry instead of sunlight. These places remind us that darkness can be gentle and generous, and that living things can flourish by taking turns with energy, sharing warmth across a rocky table. Still awake? Comment the secret word, nebula. The ocean moon has its own weather of the deep. Slow waves roll where ice meets water. Some regions of the ice shell may descend, carrying oxidants down. Others rise, delivering minerals upward. It is a slow conveyor, a sleepy escalator that takes centuries to complete a single trip. Yet, bit by bit, this movement sustains the gentle imbalance that life could use. A little more energy here, a little less there, and in between, a space for cells to do their quiet work. The gentle rhythm continues. You drift by a vent chimney that has been growing grain by grain. Its walls feel rough but crumbly like a mineral sponge. Within, fluid moves in narrow corridors, never boiling, only warming.